This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 series here at Autodromo Jose Carlos Paque, or also known as Interlagos. I am Austin. I am joined by Marco Barbernera for the final race of the 2020 Season 1. Marco, how are you doing?
Fantastico! I'm so ready to go for this final race of the season. It's always a bittersweet feeling when we get to week 12. It has been a fantastic second consecutive season of racing with us for the Formula 3.5 series, and the first on the iRacing Esports Network. Here's to more of these, and what a way to close out the season from one of my favorite races, a track that I used to hate. And then in iRacing really sparked me a love for this place. The races here are usually fantastic, and this car is the perfect match, I think, for this racetrack right here. And Austin, before we jump into the meat of the meeting tonight, let's give the people what they want, and that's an overview of the championship standings.
Championship standings: Tim Delisle leads the championship by 100 points ahead of Paul Ilbrink. Greg Olson in third, followed by Edward A. Samborski in fourth. Rob Bohr behind him with Christopher Herbino right behind Renault Augusto. James J. Pinzer, he's been moving up the points recently. I believe last week he was just in 18th now, and he's jumped up all the way up to 8th. So James been doing a lot of improvement. He's followed by Rob Crouch, Steve Honan, Manu Domingo, Erica Lindstrom, Omar Baja, I am Keeman, Labar Morik, Cedric Bill, Phil Reed, and Alexei Sirotkin, your top 18 drivers.
Exactly, so Team Delisle starting the night with 100 points over Paul Ilbrink. They are both here. So is Greg Olson sitting in third in the standings. So is Edward Samborski. So is Rob Boer. I mean, they are all here. Erbino is not here, but I think Reinaldo Augusto is here. Yes, of course, his home race. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. James Jepinski here. And we have a wild card. And what a wild card we have, Austin. Because we have Marti Pietila running with us, former World Championship driver in the MP4-30, if memory serves me right, one of the fastest open-wheeler drivers in iRacing. He could be really a wild card tonight, I think, because this is certainly a track that can provide for some... I mean, it had one of my favorite F1 race of all time, the 2012 season finale here. Many titles were decided around here, and look at that, Pietila, pole position.
The wild card is definitely in effect. Pietila, or how you've been saying it, takes pole, and he's definitely going to be feeling it right now because he was the last car to be out. He is definitely going to be on pole with Tim Delisle right beside him and Paul Ilbrink starting in the second row. And he's got James J. Pinster along with him. Let's bring you up the grid. Martin Pietila starts on pole with Tim Delisle right beside Paul Ilbrink, James J. Pinster, Greg Olson, Phil Reed, Rob Bohr, Steve Honan, Erica Lindstrom, Omar Baja, Cedric Bill, Renard Augusto in 12th place. In 13th place behind them, it is Edward A. Samborski, Thomas Knoll, Dan Giang, Rob Crouch, and Stephen Warcup in this 17 car grid. Smaller grid, but hey, it's going to be very close indeed.
Oh man, it's absolutely going to be very close. Just a second, I'm trying to bring back the flags that we all know and love. So hopefully they will be back in a second. Oh,
Flags
there they are.
Oh, they showed up. There they are. Very diverse grid, all four corners of the globe being represented. Australia, Europe, I believe Middle East, Eastern Asia, or Eastern Europe, America, and South America. I believe we've hit 5 continents.
And also Steven Warkup, nice to have him back for this one final round. Marti Pietila, Cedric Bill, We are waiting for them. Rob Croucher work up as well. Here comes the pole sitter, the wild card. But the big question, Austin, is, and will be also tonight, later tonight, who is going to come out of this fight as Le Champion?
100 points separates the top two in the championships. Who is going to be the Season 1 of 2020 Formula 3.5 Championship? We're going to find out as the 5 red lights are coming on. The hearts are pounding. The revs are rising because we're going racing here at Interlagos.
Oh, look at Paul Hilbrink with a fantastic start, pushing on the inside is Pinsker, but Hilbrink jumps up to second. Maybe. Not.
Tim Delisle, rocket start immediately, and
Oh, here
big
comes
crash!
Pietila.
Piazza gets turned around and it goes wide off in the Senna S. And
So
James
much
A.
for the
Piezer's
wild
jumped
card.
up James hops up into second place from that, and James can act as the wild card right now. He's been rising up through the ranks throughout the season, and he, from a very bad start to a very profitable end, James A. Piezer can definitely be putting in a big input into this championship.
And the race is over for Marty, unfortunately. I was so looking forward to have him around here for this final round. Always a pleasure to have him drive. Got collected by Hilbrink and hard into the wall there. No coming back from that, unfortunately.
Well, he's got the pole stat. That's something, but that is a very unfortunate race for him. Looking at Everett Samborski, he's moved up 2 spots already from the start, sitting in 11th place right now. He's got a lot of work cut out for him. He's sitting 4th in the championship. Back up front, Delisle, Pinsker, and Hilbrink, your top 3. And ooh, we got a big old drag race. Look at Samborski going down to the inside of turn 1, behind of Baja and Cedric Bill. He's looking around the outside, just giving all these guys room, but it looked like he was going to try to send up the inside. A very out of Samborski move that we saw, that we usually see the more reserved driver go for.
Erkan Lindstrom is looking to go past Rob Boer as they are still fighting as the gap between first and second is 1.1. I think James J. Pinsker told to us after the interview, after the race, sorry, as we have some wheel banging there between Bill and Baja. And look at that was Jiang going deep into the brakes. I think he told us that this is his favorite track, if I'm not mistaken, or the best track for him in this car. So expecting a lot. He had the perfect start. Luckily for him and unluckily for Marty Pietila went hard into the wall. By the way, Hilbrink's car looks to be okay, as Samborski is now going wide, taking a different line, trying to get past Cedric Bill in his beautiful car. No dice as Phil Reed now is pushing for 3rd place.
Very late dive, no DRS being used by Phil Reed. He's got a good old drag race though. Reed and Hilbrink side by side. Hilbrink drops another place as Phil Reed jumps up into 3rd. Wonderful move up the inside.
Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide, Samborski making it and shooting the gap. Samborski jumps up into P11. I think it was defending from there. He lost a spot and gained a spot in the exact same corner, as Hilbrink and Reed are still going at it. Hilbrink getting back up to 3rd place.
Oh dear.
3 wide. Thomas Knowles at the very bottom of it.
Someone is... oh, it's Edward Samborski.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Samborski and I were talking,
Touched with Cedric Bill. I guess...
Trying to hold around the outside. A little bit of net could happen right there, but oh, that's just a disappointment.
So it's Team Delisle from James J. Pinsker, Paul Hilbrink, Phil Reed, Rob Boer, Greg Olson. Bit disappointment, bit disappointing. So far, as you can see, dropped one spot. Biggest mover so far is Rob Crouch, and there he is in his orange and black car. And he's gained 6 spots, unfortunately. The biggest loser is poor sitter Marty Pietila from 0 to 0 in a matter of a couple of corners, unfortunately for him.
It reminds me of my Mid-Ohio incident. Getting a nice view of Thomas Knowles. He's buried his nose on the back of Gyang. Looking around the outside, he's got a good run. He's in the drafts. DRS might be being used. He's definitely got a good run. Trying to hold it around the outside. Side by side they go through this long left-hander. But unfortunately goes a little bit wide. I was driving with these guys in the practice session and told them the most difficult spot to figure out the brakes. That turn they were going for was
Wow, look at that. Steve Oden saves the car. I have no idea how we did that.
wizardry.
Do we have a replay? We don't. People asking for the SOF. Should be coming on your screen if I can find the button. Where is the button? Cannot find the button. Austin, where did you hide the button? Oh, there it is.
Safety field is at 4.8K iRating in this 17 car field. Best of the best for the final. Look at Omar Baja swinging it around to the outside. Drag racing here at Interlagos. Side by side they go into the Senna S. Not the S's, as I've been corrected so many times of saying it. No dice.
See Ilbrink trying to close in on Pinsker. Maybe we can find a
replay. Down to
replay.
a second.
Woo-hoo.
Ooh, there it is. Woo-hoo. That is a save.
I mean, with the old tire model, his race was over because he would overcook his tires and they would become basically jelly-like for 2 laps and impossible to get them back into normal operating temperature. He is lucky we are having the new tire model on this car. Coming on other cars, you will of course know already everything about it, but if you want to know more, the Apex Racing TV podcast will be up in the next few days, and of course we have a special Week 13 edition of the podcast where I tell you everything you need to know about the new content, and of course I test it because I am a very good tester at smashing cars.
As am so am I. Samborski on the back of Steven Warkup after that little off-track excursion. He's going to be fighting his way through the grid. A little bit of red mist as he's got a good run down the inside. Side by side they go. Warkup, though, defending with DRS as they're still side by side into the set S, but Samborski late on the brakes, gets a good dive in there and jumps up into 15th.
Ilbrink is pushing super hard, the fastest lap of the race last time by. He's trying to close in on James J. Pinsker. And let's see the gap between the pair of them, how much it has evolved over the last few laps. And as you can see, there's been constant gains from the driver from the Netherlands, former World Championship driver of his own, trying to close in on our Spa winner, James J. Pinsker. Team Delisle in the lead of the race, more or less lapping the same times as Pinsker, apart from lap 3 where he got half a second over the driver currently sitting in second. But I think Pinsker needs to be looking in his mirrors because this is a very angry Paul Ilbrink. He didn't want to leave any kind of space to Marco Pietila at the beginning of the race, and Marti Pietila, not Marco, sorry. And he basically has one thing in his mind only: let's finish as high as possible, then whatever happens. Of course, there will be drop weeks to be counted, etc. So we might not know straight away the results of the championship, but I think that if things stay this way, we could have a decent idea of what the story is going to be come the checkered flag.
We got a tasty three-way battle for 11th gang, Bill and Augusto. Bill is just stuck in the middle with Gang, but he's got a good run around the outside, side by side through this long left-hander. Oh, unfortunately gets pushed off the track just a little bit, and here comes Ronaldo Augusto holding it down onto the inside. The Brazilian driver making moves at his home race. It's a little bit too spicy.
Oh, wide.
Big old slide out of the braking zone. That held up Bill and Yang. Whoa, great save by them. They kept it nice and clean, but Augusto definitely sees the red mist. But he held it back, didn't get he didn't push himself a little bit too hard once he saw the mistake. But he is definitely seeing that they are making mistakes. Here comes Augusto.
He's got company in the back in the form of Thomas Knoll, so one eye forward, one eye back.
DRS used on all these cars. Augusto looking down the inside. Bill looking down the inside as well. And oh my goodness, they almost made contact right there. That's going to hurt Cedric Bill a lot as Augusto got very close and Ilbrink's off the track.
Yeah, Ilbrink is very, 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 very wide. Coming down the Desida do Lago. Phil Reed cannot profit, but this is a massive breathing room for James J. Pinsker. Let's have a replay of that. You see he got a bit off the line.
It's just riding in the AstroTurf on the exit of that long left-hander. Which does have a corner name, but
The
I don't
Desida do
speak
Lago.
any Portuguese.
Ah, well, I
Yes.
love saying the corner names of this place, so... It's actually,
And-
yeah, one of my favorite tracks to name the corners of. And so, yeah, now that I remember it, you will suffer through it, I'm sorry.
Now that you remember it, I don't have to. Samborski, good run on Thomas Knoll. A little bit held up on the exit. But he's got the draft of Noah, Augusto, Giang, and Bill all ahead of him. See the slit being moved down in the wing. That means DRS is being used. DRS can use it up to 8 times. No cooldowns on how long they can use it. No cooldowns in between uses
Steve
of-
Onan.
Oh my goodness, Steve Holden got launched up into the air. He's got damage on his front left, and I believe, yeah, he does have suspension damage. So what has happened to Steve Honan? Coming out of the Senate S.
Oh, he lost it on his
Oh,
own.
he just lost it on his
Ve-
own, and
Very strange.
boom. Back up to, well, back down to the battle for 10th place, as that crash is actually ahead of him. It's Bill, Yang, Noah, Augusto, and Samborski in this 5-car battle.
They are going down the hill, as you can see, side by side between Bill and Zhang, with the driver from the Australia-New Zealand club trying to get a good exit here at the Junson corner as they push very hard for the Subida dos boxes here on the right side, and then they will enter the Arquibancadas, which means another lap is completed. Closest fight on the field this is, and is so exciting. This is a massive train of cars. Everyone looking for the slipstream, everyone looking for a little bit of room, trying to get an advantage, but the slipstream is so big with this car, DRS or not, Austin, it's very tough to run away.
Yeah, Cedric Bill had DRS defending from everybody else, and that just kind of held him off as Bill and Yang are side by side as they're heading into... I was waiting for Marco just to say the corner name right there.
The Desida do Lago.
Yes.
Now they are riding up into Ferradura, and then they will come to a corner called Esse, which means Esse. Then the Pinheirino hairpin here, and then my favorite corner of them all as the name. This one right here, the Bico de Pato, the duck bill. I mean, come on, man.
A little bit of smoke in the braking area. Driver locked up the front right. That may have been Yang. So you can hear the drivers riding on the roll strip. The just decrease in pitch as they hit onto the brakes. Everyone following Yang. Thomas Knoll swinging around the outside, taking a look. Yang using DRS. Here comes Thomas Knoll looking around the outside, side by side, drag racing, getting a little bit of help from Bill. But look at the speed that Yang has.
Deep into the brakes once again, into the Senna S, and down into the Curva do Sol, this long left-hander that will come right now. But still, the situation remains the same. Maybe this time, Zhang has a good run, but good defending from Bill. He basically sticks his car on the inside, and this forces Zhang to go on the outside, and there is no way through there, unfortunately.
No way through there, and also Bill had a very bad corner exit. This could be disastrous as Bill is forced down the inside. Look at Thomas. No, he's trying to force his way into this fight.
Patrick Letouvé saying good job, Bill, and he's, you know, doing a great job of defending. Thomas Knoll and now Samborski is making a comeback. So his car seems okay.
Yeah, his car seems okay. Bit of a lockup through there. Samborski holding down to the inside of Thomas Knoll. Samborski had the better run. He's going to hold it off into the braking zone, and Samborski jumps up into P12. Looking back from Cedric. Yep, looking back from Cedric Bill. DRS activated, leading out this train. There's a little bit of gap between them and the three-way battle for 12th place. Gang, looking around the outside into the S. Just wants to be safe about it. Use that preferred line.
But I think, Austin, Bill is burning through his DRS allowance very early in the race.
Yes,
I mean, we're almost halfway through, by the way. But
not even halfway through, and I believe we've seen DRS being used by Bill 4 times right now.
Still sticking the car to the inside seems to be working, but here comes the wild card, Samborski. Very aggressive pass. He makes it stick, and now all of a sudden he is the one chasing the Frenchman in P10. So great comeback, and of course these two guys, I think they are the guys that made contact that caused Samborski to drop several places a few laps ago.
I believe they are, and Samborski, we love seeing Samborski put on overtaking shows because he just knows how to do it with efficiency and cleanliness. As Bohr and Reed going side by side into the S. Bohr holding it down to the inside. Now he's around the outside. Who's going to carry out the speed? He gives a little bit of tap and Bohr gets sent off the track.
Here comes Greg Olson. Will he profit? Well, we'll know later because we go back here and Samborski already trying to make the move.
Already, look at this.
Oh, he's around.
Oh, Samborski saves it, but a big old slide coming out of the top of the Senna S. Just sent the car around, locked up the brakes, and unfortunately a little bit too hot. I was talking with him about this race, and he said, you gotta tiptoe your way around here as, oh my goodness.
Everyone going a bit wide. And Rinaldo Gusto all of a sudden is at the front of this train. He has been waiting in the wings all race long, basically. And yeah, everyone went wide. Let's get a replay.
Bill at the front. Here comes gang. Looking down the inside. A little bit too much mustard. And Bill, a lot of mustard right there. A little bit of relish as he chopped up some of that AstroTurf right there. And now Augusto's in P10.
Paul Hilbrink, fastest lap of the race, and once again in the clutches on the gearbox of James J. Pinsker after a long comeback. Rinaldo Gusto, the fastest sector 5, so the last sector of the race in this previous lap. Absolutely crazy. But Hilbrink looks to be very aggressive, wants to finish at least in second place as they are side by side once again behind Augusto. This time is between Zhang and Knoll as Bill has lost a bit of time, I think. Quite a bit of time.
I think Bill's just counting his chickens and saying, I'd rather stay back here and just wait. Let my driving do the talking right now because it got very dicey up between these two cars. And speaking of dicey, Gang and Knoll about to dice it up through the long left-hander. Side by side they go. Gang actually holding around the outside. Got a little bit off track, but Knoll still there with them. Is there still side by side? This time Knoll around the outside. Still side by side into the brake zone. Knoll sending it right there, but a little bit of a lockup. And Gang gets 11th. And this battling has allowed Augusto to check out from this battle. But the battle on track right now is the battle for second place between Pacer and Ilbrink. Championship hopeful Ilbrink down by 100 points. Sends it up the inside. Had a great old draft into the S's. And Paul Ilbrink is now back into second place. The number 2 car back into second.
Another fastest lap of the race, but look at Pinsker, of course, he is not okay with this. He wants his second position back. but look at the speed that Ilbrink was able to carry on the backstretch on the Reta Oposta, as Jiang and Nol are going at it once again. So usually this is the question that we ask every time. I mean, when a quick driver makes an error early in the race, then starts piling on the quick laps, does he have enough tire left to go back and catch Team Delisle, who I think is cruising just in front there, no?
Yeah, Tyndall is doing Tyndall things right now, and that is just what we're used to. Total domination, I believe, is what I've called it earlier. As Phil Reed is showing us out on our screen, but oh, Gang and Noel side by side, a little bit of touchy as they head side by side into the braking zone.
Yeah, Reed is not coming back. That's very worrying, because usually after a bit you come back, but he has been out now for around 30 seconds. You can, Austin, you can bring up the iRacing UI. I can't for obvious reasons, so maybe to keep an eye on that to see if he has been disconnected or not. That would be very unfortunate, of course.
It's not showing him as disconnected, so that is a bit worrying. So he may have had an incident on his own and retired.
No, he disappeared. I'm quite sure he disappeared from like poof, all of a sudden.
I think it did just go poof. Maybe a hardware issue. We did have a rolling blackout happen to us in a broadcast yesterday, so it's not the first time. That is unfortunate for Phil Reed.
Our leader, Team Delisle. Let's see the comparison of this lap time compared to the previous one. And as you can see, Ilbrink has been gaining slowly, 1/10 per lap, more or less, alpha 10 the previous lap. Let's see in this lap right here, lap 16, who just finished 21.3, and Paul Ilbrink, well, he takes away 3/10 of a second. It might not be enough to swing the championship in his favor. For Paul Ilbrink, 100 points is a big difference, but he wants to end the season on a high and maybe go and get Team Delisle, even though once again a big question mark over the tires, because of course Ilbrink had to push super hard all the race long.
He definitely has to push as hard as he can. Thomas Knoll in a big old drag race battle heading into the braking zone. He's going to try to hold it around the outside. That's going to give him advantage down onto the inside now, and he makes the move for 10th place. And Samborski now on the hunt for 11th.
Samborski is back once again for the second time. He has come back rising like a phoenix from the ashes as Jan goes very wide. Samborski, I think, will have moved on quite easily, and that's exactly what happened.
Samborski rising like the phoenix and getting, well, yeah, getting positions very efficiently as we've seen him do, but unfortunately consistency has been his downfall.
This lap quicker was Delisle. Ilbrink dropping a bit. Pinsker is always there, less than a second as Thomas Knoll goes wide.
Oh! Just overcooked it on the exit. Oh, it's just got... He was already spinning up the tires as he was going out onto the exit, trying to carry as much speed as he can, but unfortunately rode it into the curb. And I thought we just saw Noel try to head it into the pits, but that's not what happened.
Went back on track. And I think he's continuing. Yes, as now Cedric Peel goes wide.
You see Bill struggle with that corner, and a lot of drivers been struggling with that corner a lot. As the gaps started to separate right now, still the main battle right now is battle for second between Ilbring and Pinsker.
Bring up the dashboard and see the speeds that they are pulling on the backstretch. A little bit in the draft, of course. Is Pinsker not massively in the draft, but still in the draft. A bit of Paul Ilbrink. Paul Ilbrink this lap still slower, so Team Delisle certainly has been managing his tires. Now he is answering the call from Paul Ilbrink, and he is trying and successfully doing so, maintaining a reasonable gap at the front, 3.4 seconds right now, and trying to bring home another race victory, which would be the perfect coronation to a fantastic season. And of course, he will be declared unofficially Le Champion, and he will celebrate with a little bit of the bubbly, if you know what I mean.
Yes, he's definitely going to be enjoying that bubbly at the end of the race and end of the season if he does get the championship. And as we were talking about this, I kind of want to bring up a fact on the South American tracks. We really need some more South American tracks. I know
Yes.
you and I, we both love the Argentinian tracks, but there's another track in Sao Paulo that I absolutely love and which was in iRacing. It actually takes place on a drag strip in the middle of the city.
Huh?
Yeah, it's actually a street circuit that goes around the, I think it's a convention center, but this drag strip is just straight out of nowhere, right next to a highway. It's just a mile-long straight with, I think, like 3 chicanes and then a lot of 90-degree hairpins, but it's a drafting Brazilian NASCAR stock car racetrack that I really love watching these races on.
You know, my top wish list, apart from my local track, which will never be scanned because, of course, it is the home track of another simulator competitor of iRacing. Oh, the Lyle disappeared for a second. My two biggest wishes would be the Raffaella Oval, which is an oval with 3 chicanes. I mean, absolute madness. And, of course, my favorite Argentinian track, which is former F1 home, the Autodromo Oscar Alfredo Galvez in Buenos Aires, which is not where the MotoGP runs right now. That is Termas de Rio, which is a decent track but too modern for my standard. I mean, I would love to get all the tracks of Turismo Carretera. There are some absolute jewels out there. But yeah, I mean, if you give me Rafaela and Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires has like 7-8 different variants, so it would be absolutely fantastic to have.
If y'all have a track that you would like to be represented in iRacing and you would think it would be awesome, post it in chat. We would like to see everyone's favorite tracks out there because, heck, my favorite track's already in here, but I'm 2 hours away from Circuit of the Americas, so I'm kind of biased.
Speaking of which, as we keep on showing our second place in the championship and second place in the race, Paul Ilbrink, it's been a quiet race for Greg Olson so far. Austin sitting in 5th place, and he's not really been under any pressure as Pinsker makes a mistake.
Oh, rare mistake from James Pinsker. That's going to be very disastrous because this is his favorite track, but that just shows you, even on your favorite track, you still make mistakes. Heading into this slow left-hander, hopped up onto the curb. That just upset the rear suspension, and that sets him around. And there's Rob Bohr on the hunt right now on James J. Pinsker.
Let's see if we have yes, we have the proposed schedule for next year. So you want to know it, Austin?
Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone here will like to know the schedule next year.
So the proposed schedule, of course, it will have to go through iRacing's approval. It's going to be Silverstone Grand Prix, the full racetrack at Road America, Spa-Francorchamps, Donington Park Grand Prix, Circuit of the Americas, Suzuka, Sebring International, Zandvoort, Barcelona, Detroit, a very nice hidden gem in Barber, and finally Nurburgring Grand Prix without the arena, so the one with the small chicane, basically.
I might be taking a little bye-week break from the commentary box on that Circuit of the Americas race, and might be seeing me on track. Then again, I have to grind up my iRating to get up here to the broadcast, but that Circuit of the America race, I am going to be very excited. And I can tell you a bunch of facts about Circuit of the Americas.
Oh yeah, where you have been very, very recently, of course.
Very recently and way too many times. As most of the field is actually spread out very comfortably from each other. Yeah, almost everybody is separated by 2 seconds. We do have a gap of 1.5 seconds between Stephen Warcup and I think that would be Cedric Bill.
Yeah, things have settled down for these final 5 laps. You are right, Warcup and Bill are is the closest fight so far. It's been a long season. These guys have entertained us for 12 straight weeks. So it's okay if you take the final 5 laps of the season, and give it a little bit of a break. As Paul Hilbrink, fastest lap of the race this last time around. Let's see if he can get another quick lap this time. He can, not as fast as the previous one, still gaining a bit on Tim Delisle, but I think Tim, again, 2.9 seconds, so he's in conservation mode, wants to bring the car home and celebrate the title. Now it will be official on Tuesday at midnight GMT, but let's be honest, there will not be another SOF race with this SOF, so unofficially he will be the champion against the fastest Sector 1 of the race so far, does Tim Delisle. He is pushing super hard. Let's bring the sector comparison.
Well, is that about conservation mode? Because he's still pushing.
Middle sector, middle portion of the racetrack is where Hilbrink seems to be a bit quicker. But only in Sector 3 was able to gain a bit. Other sectors, if you sum them up, it more or less evens it out with Delisle's time. So I'm not expecting any big changes. Let's see the lap time history this time around. As Tim Delisle posts 120.552 is personal best, and basically an identical time for Paul Hilbrink, but just a bit quicker is...
But we were slower than Tim that time.
Yeah, but like fractionally slower, so you know.
That is true. We are talking about very fractional margins here.
I mean, I would be very happy if I was 0.065 slower than Tim Delisle.
Stephen Warcup, though, he's trying to make a move into 12th. Nice, caught up to Cedric Bill with 2 laps to go. Trying to make a move on him and trying to surprise Bill and get one last overtake in the season.
Oh man, he's getting closer and closer and closer. Cedric, of course, had a tough race, good defending, but then a mistake. I think maybe he's got sporting some damage, because after going wide at the Subida do Lago a few laps ago, if you remember, he has dropped like a stone. We thought initially he was, saving his car, but no, he's having some big issues. That front wing is damaged, man. You see that? I think if it's not a camera trick that's playing on the trick that the camera is playing on us.
Yeah, it is. No, front right, it is damaged. He does have some damage on that front right. It's a little bit more lifted up than usual, and you can see the scraping on it. Actually, so Cedric Bill is suffering from some damage. Doesn't look like it's going to be suspension damage, even though those kind of go hand in hand here on these cars. If you see that your front wing damage, it's a high likelihood that you do have some wheel damage, but it's not hurting Bill that much, but it's definitely hurting him on the straights and in these corners.
Told you we need
It's
a,
a lot.
a telestrator, you know? Fastest lap of the race for Ilbrink, by the way.
Paul Ilbrink setting in a 1:24.1. He's just going for the fastest lap now. There, 2 laps to go, separated by 3 seconds. It's going to be very hard for Ilbrink to catch up unless Delisle gets a unfortunate error as Work Up just sending it way down the inside, came out of nowhere really on the straight to pick up P12.
Augusto is trying to catch up to Crouch, by the way, for P8 as, you know, Billy's coming back despite his damage, and rightfully so, but Workup is able to defend with ease as the white flag is in the air. Saddle Blanca for the final time in this season, and it's Team Delisle. Austin, 2.5 seconds. Ilbrink has been pushing like crazy in these final few laps, able to bring the gap down. There is a lot of
turn one,
smoke.
Delisle, he locked
yeah,
up.
He locked up with the passion, you know, but giving us some shows. Olsen gets his personal best, Lindstrom gets his personal best, but all the cameras are on this man, and he's going to bring home the season 1 of 2020 title. Pinsker very slow, loses the position to Rob Bohr very quickly. Let's see what happened. No, we can't. Yes, we can. Made a mistake there.
Whoa! Just stopped on track. That is very odd. But Tim Delisle, whoa! Cedric Bill, late charge on War Cup.
I mean, what's the damage, you know? You still... But here it's time for Team Delisle to get the checker flag.
He's been dominating all season. In almost every race that he was in, he was either on the top step or within the top 5. Ladies and gentlemen, taking another win, Tim Delisle taking the win and the championship. Unofficially, but oh my goodness, Augusto and Crouch getting together, and Augusto is going to be waiting for Crouch. Class move by Augusto, and Saborski is going to pick up 2 spots at the end of that. But very gentleman move from Ronaldo Augusto. Letting back up. I think James is having a little bit of fun.
I would hope so, and unless he had a massive failure in the first corner of the cooldown lap. Let's get a replay of what happened to him. We just have like the final few moments. I think here we go.
I have a feeling he punted himself off of a wall.
I'm doing a service to the viewers. I'm actually showing his mistake that dropped him from 3rd to 4th. Let's see. Maybe the chopper will show us, which is not this corner.
Did he hit the curb?
It's not in the event viewer, no? So it's probably this corner here. I had to go very, very back in the situation. Let's see. Doesn't clip the grass. Very hard on the curb there.
Curb, and he went around. That's what happened to James.
And then
this.
Then this. But you know, I've been waiting basically all season to do this, and I don't do it a lot. Le champion, Team Delisle.
That's what the project you were working on. Congratulations to Tim Delisle, le champion himself.
And here we go with the final race results from this very, very exciting round of Interlagos.
Tim Delisle takes the win and the championship. Ahead of Paul Ilbrink, Rob Bohr, James Dave Pinkster finishing on his rear for doing other stuff. Ahead of Greg Olson, Erica Lindstrom, Omar Baja, Edward A. Samborski picking up 2 spots at on the last corner ahead of Rob Crouch and the gentleman Bernard Augusto after that incident ahead of Dan Yang. Cedric Bill holding out Stephen Warcup with that damage ahead of Thomas Null. Phil Reed, who just disappeared out of nowhere. Steve Honan and Marty Piatelli after that wonderful pole time, and then unfortunately getting his race ended in turn 3.
And so another season comes to an end. Hopefully, people will join us for interviews. Well, I think, Austin, we have Greg Olson to begin with.
Yes, we do. Marco, I'm going to let you take this one away.
Hello, Greg. Welcome to the broadcast booth, and congratulations on a very, very good season for you. Today it was maybe not your most spectacular race. You stayed there. You maintained your position without getting too much, extracurricular activity. It was, can we say, a relaxing drive out there?
Hey Marco, yeah, thanks. It was I wouldn't say the start of the race was relaxing when I had Rob behind me, but once all the carnage had settled down, I was always planning on just driving a defensive race. I'm just not that quick around here, I think. So once the dust settled, yeah, I was just trying not to make any mistakes and bring the car home.
This result, I think, will consolidate your third place in the standings. How has this season been for you? It's been, of course, you have won races, you were always there. What was the extra bit missing from winning the championship?
To beat Tim, I think a lot more pace was required. If I'd had an absolutely perfect season, because I got taken out a few times earlier on in the season in some pretty big SOFs. But I think even with the perfect season, it would have been tough to beat even Paul. Paul's, he won some really tough races, and Besides that, I'm really happy with third place in the championship. If someone had told me that I would finish third at the start of the season, I would have taken it.
Awesome, Greg. Well, thank you for joining us for all these races. Thank you for putting on a fantastic show together with the other drivers. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Positive Sim Racing and our main partner, Universidad Isabel Primera, all my teammates for all the support we've gotten this year. You guys for the broadcast, thanks a lot for doing that, and the whole Renault 3.5 community. And I'll prematurely announce that we'll be back next season. The voting and the donations look good, so I'm looking forward to coming back this time next season.
Thank you very much, Greg. Enjoy your Week 13 break, and we'll catch you hopefully next season.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, everyone.
Austin, I think you gave me Greg, which was a great honor because you want to have a chat with Le Champion.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to having a little chat with Le Champion himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Delisle. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're just doing fantastic. You put on a stellar performance. You had a start of the gods, I would say. Jumped ahead of the pole sitter and never looked back, securing the spot in the championship in P1. And I believe you're going to be enjoying a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah, qualifying was pretty good. I felt like I had maybe a tenth more in it, so it was pretty frustrating to see Marty just pit me right at the end. But I think it might be his first race in his car, and he hasn't quite got the start technique down. So I got in there, and then unfortunately, it looked like he was tangled up in an incident behind. So from that point on, it was just sort of build a bit of a gap and then just try to consolidate that lead, do nothing too crazy, just keep the tires in check. And it went really well.
It seemed like you had the championship on lock ever since last round. You did take an off week, and that championship did drop to 100 points. We thought Marty was going to play a big factor in the being the wild card, but it was actually Marty and James Peenster holding off Paul Ilbrink. He was closing in on you But as you were in the front for about 3 seconds. Did you were you looking at your relative at any time and just putting in a coast mode, or were you just straight pushing?
I was watching it the entire race, which is a bad trait. It's something I need to shake. But yeah, like I don't know, when you're in a championship sort of situation, I just yeah, I don't know, the pressure gets to me a little bit. So yeah, I probably wasn't going as fast as I could have just because I was focusing so much behind me. But yeah, like Paul brought the gap down a little bit. Like the second half of the race, he's like Godzilla. He just keeps coming at you, and it can be intimidating. But yeah, luckily, just in that first half, I was able to build up enough of a gap to hold on.
All right, thank you, Tim. Congrats on the championship. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Thanks, just my team, Positive Sim Racing, for the support throughout the championship. Amy and Cam for putting up with me when I can be a bit grumpy when a race doesn't go the way I wanted to, and just to the whole community, everyone who gets involved. Like we've crowdfunded this broadcast 2 seasons in a row. It looks like it's going to happen for a third time, and it's just really awesome. We don't have too much sort of to aim for on the open wheel side of iRacing. Hopefully that can change in the future, but for now, like I don't know, it's just a great community, and you guys for keeping up the coverage, and hopefully you'll be back to do it again next season. So thanks.
Thank you, Tim. You have yourself a great night and enjoy the party.
Great day. It's only 9 a.m. here.
That's right. You're in the
Thanks,
future.
guys.
Well, you know, Austin, the moment Tim said that, the clock here switched to midnight, so it's March already for us here in Central Europe. But and all of a sudden, the interview room really exploded. So
My goodness, they've all showed up.
yeah, let's have a chat with our second place finisher. I think both in the race and in the championship. We're talking with Paul Hilbrink. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
So let's talk about the race. The start, you came together with Marty. How was that from your perspective?
Well, I looked it back and it looks a bit worse than how I experienced it in the first place. Like Marty had a really poor start from pole, so I was like kind of ahead into turn one, but he came back on my right side and I thought he would like leave a little bit of room on the inside because he wasn't like far ahead of me, and I just went full on the curbs, having a bit higher speed, so I thought I might pass him there again in turn three on the inside, but he went back to the apex and we collided, and yeah, I'm sorry to have sent him into the wall there and ended this race, so that's on me, I guess.
On a general note, how was your race after that? Because you made a couple of mistakes. You came back in the end, second place, and you were putting some very, very fast laps, even at the end of the race when I thought your tires would be destroyed. And I'm sure you were a little bit in trouble with your tires, but you still showed some fantastic pace all throughout these 27 laps.
Yeah, I don't know. After that incident, I was a bit worried that my car would have damage, and well, looking at the pace at the end of the race, it was not the case. But I guess it was more like a placebo effect, me thinking it had damage and felt a bit unstable in some corners, but that might have been like the high fuel. But yeah, the car felt fine later on, and yeah, I could really push, try to catch Tim, but yeah, was too far behind after the first lap, so never really got close enough to try something. And I had that one moment indeed where I ran really wide because I had like a weird twitch, and I thought if I would have committed to that turn 4 or 5, I might have spun the car. So I just went wide out as a precaution to not crash and keep my position. So yeah, that was that.
What about your season then? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you had a much better second half compared to the first half, but might be my memory failing me. Is that the same impression that you have got?
Yeah, I put a bit more time and effort in the later races, and in the beginning of the season, I had a couple like worse results, and with there being more points at the beginning of the season, always it's yeah, Tim did a good job there, and I could never really catch up. And to be fair, he's been like the quicker driver anyway over the season, so he's the rightful champion.
Awesome, Paul. Well, congratulations on the podium, second place in the championship. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, sure. I want to thank all my teammates at Radicals Online and our partners and sponsors: Cranfield Simulation, Your Real Time and Armor Center, SS Sim Race, MOATF Podcast, Turn Racing, Simmortals, Exciteways, and Pixel Dust. And yeah, everybody who made this broadcast possible, and you guys for doing a nice job every week.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time.
All right.
You know, Austin, I really, it's a mess to who have we talked to and who do we have to talk to. I think we have 3 left that we have to talk to, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we do have 3. My voice just went. Oh my goodness.
Man,
whoa.
between last night and tonight, I mean, thankfully
Yeah,
there is no
last night-
7-hour broadcast tomorrow.
I'm gonna. Well, I don't think my voice is gonna recover from that. Yeah, I'm gonna let you take this and try to fix this.
Okay, so we had a chat with. Well, let's have a chat with. I tell you what, a chat with Eddie Samborski, who once again had to fight through a lot of, and I hate to use this word, adversity for those that follow NASCAR. But I mean, it has been. Can we say, Edward? First of all, welcome. Secondly, this race has been more or less a picture of your season, always fighting back from errors or collisions or something that was out of your control, your own mistakes, and showing you had a fantastic pace. But sadly, there is not enough time in the end to get back to the pointy end of the field.
Absolutely. I think you absolutely summed it up perfectly. I mean, if it's not me, for instance, the qualifying errors again today. I mean, I lost. I don't know. I don't have them side by side, but in practice all week I was running low 20s for qualifying relatively easily, and today, I'm at a 20.9 on the same track. So that's fine. Whatever. You try to drive back from it, and then everyone was taking these crazy defensive lines, and I'll tell you what, I had no idea which way anybody was going. My head was spinning. I spent more time looking behind me than I think forward, and unfortunately, a couple drivers reached over their grip limit, and including myself, I made a mistake in turn 1, trying to make a really hard cut to get through to the inside on turn 2 to try and get a drive, and I just smoked the rear tires right out from underneath me. But I mean, I survived. I still got a reasonable good finish, so I guess it probably was fun to watch, right?
Well, it was very entertaining, I can tell you that, as has been the entire season. And I think I want to ask you, what are your, resolutions for next season? I guess one of them is, be less of a target for other cars. But I think also you want to be a bit more consistent yourself, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I set a goal this season to try and get 1,600 championship points, and I've pretty much reached that. So next season, I absolutely positively have to get qualifying down. I cannot keep doing this to myself. So I'm going to work on that, and hopefully with working on the qualifying, I can become more consistent. I can deal with a couple of tenths, but I mean, compared to my best lap, I was sometimes 5 or 6 tenths off, and you just can't do that and expect to run up front. The guys up front are just going to drive away from you. So, you read my mind, man.
Well, thank you for joining us, Edward. It was a fantastic season. Thanks to you and all the other guys who put on a fantastic show every Saturday for us here. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yes, I'd like to thank Downforce Racing this week. The group with some of the Australian drivers here invited me to join their Discord. I'm already on a team. It's D1RT, but obviously this isn't dirt. So they hooked me up with delivery. So I'd like to thank them. I thank you guys for doing the broadcast. This is really fun. And, best luck to everyone for next season.
Awesome, Edward. Well, Thank you very much. Enjoy your break, and we'll catch you hopefully very, very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you. You as well.
And that was Edward Samborski. Austin, talk to me.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect. Can
Hey.
you go for one more interview?
Yeah, one more interview, and I think we got first, we got second. Let's talk to our driver who finished in, making sure I got this right, third place.
Ninth.
Yes, Rob
No.
Board.
No,
I'm
it's
not
Rob
Rob
Crouch.
You've got the wrong
I-
one. You got the other Rob.
My
You got the Rob that doesn't crash. Hi guys. Yeah.
Alright.
No, I qualified really badly and I was very slow today. I came through the field from 16th and I was in 8th pretty happily. Augusto was catching me at the end, but we had a bit of a netcode incident in the final corner. I was really getting excited for the drag race to the line, but he waited for me and let me by, which was nice of him. But Ed snuck past us both and actually cost me some championship points. But anyway, it's all right. I enjoyed the season.
Oh my god, I still can't get over the mind that I just got names confused. You both start with Rob, okay?
My own teammates do it. They always talk about Rob in the channel. I'm like, no, can we just call Bor because I'm Rob? Come on.
Well, you were having a all right race today. A little bit of a incident at the end that, thankfully, he did wait and let you by. But I must say, you were my favorite car to watch throughout the season. Love your paint scheme.
Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, I got to give props to my painter again. Oh, you'll actually get to see it next season because it's not on the broadcast. But yeah, our team's got a really good dude he doesn't race much, but he paints lots. So yeah, we're very thankful to Mick for doing all that work in the back end. So yeah, shout out to all the Downforce Racing crew.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask you for before we let you go, anyone who want to shout out before I lose my mind and get more people wrong.
That's about it. Yeah, my wife and kids for putting up with me and my noisy obsession here. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys next season.
All right, and we will see you next season as well. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, so who do we got next? Oh man, it's you know what? We'll get a couple more, just 2 more, because I want to really. Oh man, I want to talk to Cedric Ville. He's disappeared. Let's talk to James J. Pinsker then. Hello, James.
Hello.
So it's been an interesting race from your perspective. Tell us about it.
Yeah, interesting is probably the right word. So I qualified 4th, actually within like 4/10 of the pulsar, which was quite surprising for me. I was quite quick here. I think this was probably my second fastest race of the season. And just in general, I'm just delighted with what my pace was. And then I got up to second after the crash in turn 3, which I'm sure you've seen on lap 1. Paul was a little bit quicker than me. Tim was a little bit quicker than me, so I just settled in 3rd. And I had to spin on with like 6 laps left. Cost me like 4 seconds, and I thought I thought nothing of it. But then on the last lap, I had another spin. I lost the rear end slightly, and I just like plowed the throttle completely, so I could do like a 360. I thought I'd only lost like 3 seconds from that. It was quite good car control, but
It looked cool, I can tell you that.
yeah. So I think I did good damage limitation from my 2 spins. I only lost like 7 seconds between 2 spins, which is pretty effective, but it still cost me a place in the end. And I was pretty frustrated, as you can probably see by what I did after the race. Sorry for the 4x, Rob, but yeah.
I noticed that both you and Rob Bohr, by the way, entered the race with the exact same rating. So
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
4979, yeah.
We did an official before that race, and I finished first, he finished second, and yeah, we ended up on the same. We had a really good battle as well. It was good fun. Shame we didn't quite have the same battle in that race. He just stole my position on the last lap. But yeah, I enjoyed racing with him in the previous official. So Rob, if you're racing, you're a good lad. Or Rob, if you're watching, you're a good lad.
So what is the the vote that you give to your season in general. How do you think things went in these past couple of weeks?
In general, for the season, I was really, really. I cannot emphasize enough how surprised I was with how quick I've been. Because generally, say, perfect example, just last season in this car, I was on average probably about 2 seconds slower than Tim Delisle every race, every single track we went to, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 tracks. And then jumping into this season, I don't know, just with the new tire model, and I got a new wheel, and I found quite a lot of pace, I think, and it's been good. It's been good fun because I get to battle against a lot of different people near the front. I've enjoyed racing with a lot of different people. Had quite a few good battles, particularly with people like Urka, Rob. I can't think of any other names, but quite a few different people. The win in Spa was definitely a highlight. That's staying in my iRacing bio for a while. Loved that. And I finished 6th in the points in the end. So yeah, that was really good as well. So yeah, just happy and really surprised, if anything. And thanks to iRacing for hosting these races. Thanks to everyone who races, and thanks for providing a broadcast, Apex Racing TV, because yeah, it's been good fun.
I mean, I was just about to ask if you had someone to thank. I will still ask it to you because I'm sure there are some other names you want to say hi to.
Well, I don't really have a serious team, but if you want to follow at Team Tepper on Twitter, anyone watching, go ahead. Quality tweets by yours truly. But apart from that, nah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, James. Congratulations on a very, very good season, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully.
Okay, might be there. See how it goes.
And that was another season in the books, Austin. Let me say a massive thanks to everyone who watched one race, 2 races, all of the races, and the drivers who drove in 1 race, 2 race, and 12 races, just like I said last night. But of course, the big factor here in this championship is the community, because without the community, there will be no broadcast. Thomas Knoll and the others had done an amazing thing, which is very tough to do in iRacing, and I can tell this from experience. He was actually able to get together a group of drivers to donate and get this series broadcasted for 2 seasons in a row. I see that they have already been getting the funding for season 3. So for season 2, of course, for the 3rd straight season. So it's been an absolutely great story because everyone wants to have their series broadcasted, but then when it's time to put in the money, many people disappear because there are many reasons. Of course, the big one, I think, that you are not guaranteed to be in the broadcast race week in and week out. But Thomas was able to get the community together. The drivers that donated made it possible. Hopefully, they will have even more donation. Remember, if you donate, you get your cool livery and your nice face shown on the broadcast. So it's even better, And I mean, fantastic job. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. It's been a fantastic ride. And as per usual, I will leave Austin with the final remarks from a great season.
Thank you, everybody, for having us here from Apex Racing TV, broadcasting on the iRacing Esports Network. Y'all have been very welcoming. It's been very fun reading y'all in chat and just having a good old conversation with the guys and just watching some great old racing here throughout the season. We'll see you next season here. And I'm certainly excited. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I've been joined by Marco Barbener. I'm Austin Knight, and y'all have a good night. Unless you're on Australia, then good morning.